Great guest joining us. Joining me from Denver, Colorado, reporter for the Denver Gazette. Knows everything about this case, Carol McKinley. In Jacksonville, Alabama, forensic death investigator, professor of forensics at Jacksonville State University, and host of the very popular Body Bags podcast, Joseph Scott Morgan. And in Pensacola, Florida, private investigator Lauren Vellucci. All right, welcome everyone. Can we start here? And what we heard in that last little piece from Matt was where the defense was saying there's no GPS, there's no cell phone evidence that puts Barry Morphew in the area where the remains were found. The only way he could have done it, Carol, am I right, based upon what the evidence is he would have had to have been there the day before, right? On the 9th, not on the 10th, because the 10th he's accounted for, right? That's when he heads out to Broomfield, which is in the other direction.
That's right. There was a time that he put his phone in airplane mode, and that was between 10 o'clock at night and 4 o'clock in the morning from the 9th until the 10th.
Wait, time out. Airplane mode. Airplane, what?
Yeah. But he put his phone in airplane mode for about 6 hours the night before he went to Broomfield. And so there's been a lot of talk about that because during the preliminary hearing, the FBI agent in charge, whose name is Johnny Grusing, said 6 hours is a long time. You can do a lot in 6 hours. However, his truck was still in the driveway that night. So really, between the GPS and the cell phone records, you have to look at both. And the fact that the truck never left the driveway. The truck didn't leave. The cell phone might have. The next day, the truck wasn't down there and the cell phone wasn't down there. So there was a 6-hour period where no one knows where the cell phone was. However, the truck, even though the doors were opening at 3 a.m., opening and closing, stayed in the driveway. That doesn't mean Barry stayed in the driveway, but his truck was there.
His truck was there.
So, you know, the more information you hear, the more confused you get.
Yes, but
in this case,
airplane mode.
Yes.
To me, Joseph Scott Morgan, and I'm just going by myself, the only time I put it on airplane mode is when I'm on an airplane. I don't know. I don't know why you would put it on airplane mode when you're on an airplane. 6 hours. That to me, that is really strange. It's like Jodi Arias years ago when she was driving from Northern California to Arizona to murder Travis Alexander. And it came out in trial, and the jury loved that evidence. The fact that the phone is on and then it's off and then it's turned back on, you know, and in that window it was possible. What does your gut tell you about that little fact? What would you do to try to figure out if that's just an innocent thing that he did versus purposeful conduct?
But I knew you were going to ask me this question, and I went through the various sequences you have to go through in order to get to airplane mode. And yeah, it's kind of a pull down. I'm an Android guy, so forgive me. It's kind of a pull down, and then you click on it, but it's something that you have to actively do. It's not necessarily something that you're just it's going to passively happen. And in court, you know, this can be powerful information in the hands of a digital investigator, where if you look back in time at his activity on the phone, and again, this is circumstantial, but, you know, you look through it and you say, well, how many times in the past has this individual placed that phone on airplane mode over this period of time? And then you begin to think about this period of time in which Suzanne Morphew has gone missing. And, you know, you try to correlate that with the understanding that maybe perhaps he has never placed it on airplane mode, but at that particular time, the phone happens to go on there. And just like our colleague said just a second ago, just because a truck was in the driveway doesn't necessarily mean that anyone else was there or that the phone was necessarily there, because you can't track it on airplane mode. So it's an interesting bit of information, and it's going to require a bit more pressure, I think, and shoe leather on the part of the police.
Absolutely. Okay. Let me ask you, Carol, about this. And to me, this is significant. What's the last proof of life that we have of Suzanne Morphew? Is it the selfie bikini shot that she took and then sent to her boyfriend?
The last time that we know she was alive is the picture she took at 2:07 and sent to her boyfriend on Saturday, May 9th. She was reported missing on Sunday, Mother's Day, the next day at 5 p.m. So you've got 2:07 until 5 o'clock the next day that we don't know what happened to her. So she really didn't look at her phone. There was a ping at 4 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning. That was the last ping. There were a couple of like little ghost pings that no one can explain through the night. But after 2:07, she did not look at her cell phone, which is weird because her best friend sent her some video images at about 6 that night, and she never opened them. It turns out her best friend's daughter got married that day, and it's something that Suzanne was really looking forward to, the wedding of her best friend's daughter. She never looked at the phone to check out the messages on Snapchat sent by her best friend, which were sent at 6 o'clock, 4 hours after we last know she was alive, because we saw that picture of her alive, right, that she sent to her boyfriend.
Yeah, Lauren, I think that's a significant part here, too, trying to put together a timeline, right? I mean, you're first of all, Mother's Day is the next day. You're not checking your phone. You're going to go on a bike ride. You're not checking your phone or the weather or anything else. You're not